on this stuff also. So keep in mind you will be able to look at those resources. In essence, those digital chapters that I gave you, they are still mostly pertinent. Things just work slightly different due to upgrades, but for the most part, they're mostly there. Customizing AutoCAD, that's the course we're coming into, Drafting 153 here. Let's run through the syllabus, and I do want to jump into the material today, since we're already missing one day, and we got plenty of room to cover. Okay, so let's go through it. I think I handed everybody a syllabus, so you should have this. Course description. You will customize in AutoCAD the AutoCAD operating environment and interface, which is the CUI. Stands for Custom User Interface, that's what the CUI means. Including menus, toolbars, line types, hatch patterns, auto list and or script programming. And you're going to really like these two. They're going to really kind of open your eyes to some of the things we can do with AutoCAD, I think. AutoCAD database configurations for drawing and object management. By that, can we turn AutoCAD into a BIM modeler such as Revit? And the answer is yes, we can. And we're going to look at how we do that. Companies take this on in varying aspects. Some of them go whole hog on this stuff and really customize the operating environment for their employees. Some of them just take it straight out of the box and let you do it as you go. Regardless, this is a skill that I think you're really going to enjoy. Every year I hear, why didn't you teach this at the first of the year? Because there's some really cool stuff in here. And the answer is always, I thought about this hard, we put it in front of the advisory committee. In essence, you don't know enough about AutoCAD at the beginning to really appreciate what this stuff does. It's nice that you've now had 6 to 8 months working AutoCAD, you know its capabilities. It's starting to probably feel like a friend, right? You open it up and you don't even think about doing a circle or something like that anymore, right? It just kind of happens. Now you're getting to the point where your mind can start moving to other things. And this is a good place for it, even though it won't benefit you much in this room. We're about done, but it will benefit you to come. Okay. What we're going to do here is we're really not going to do a whole lot of drawing. We will do some, but not a ton. Okay. We're going to run through and we're going to make this stuff a little more efficient for us. So we're going to start PGP customization. You've seen this a little bit already, just a touch. Way back in 132 I introduced it. And you might have seen this when I'm drafting where I keep going, this keyboard's working different than the one in my office. Okay. We're going to go into that today. Okay. And that's going to be the first start of it. Once we finish that, we're going to do some line types, some custom line types, so you can know how to make those things. We're going to then probably jump to hatch development and how we get custom hatches. Some of you already have that on your machine in AutoCAD. We went through, I think, like Lisa, Missy, I think Sean, I might even done yours, I can't remember. But I just kind of did it for you and showed you. Now you're going to go through the process. We're going to handle our icons and ribbons, make them much more efficient. We're going to do a little bit of programming. We're not going to get into this, we only got 2 weeks, and it takes, most programming languages are 3-credit courses. Okay. Well, this is a 2-credit course for 2 weeks, so we can't get into all of it, but we can kind of make you dangerous with it, and that's what plan. Drawing management. Certainly, I think many of us can benefit from that.
As he looks at me.
Yeah, sure.
Is there another course after this one?
There is one more, structural. We do structural right at the end. And the reason is we're going to use some of this information when we go to structural. Okay, there's another 2-credit course and then program's over. So we'll be at 2 weeks. And I think we'll be just about right at 2 weeks. I don't see any reason why we won't stay on schedule. The textbooks. Since your textbook doesn't have a lot of customization, but there are some chapters that we will need, so you will want your AutoCAD book here. If you don't have it here today, you're okay. We won't use it today, but we'll be using it shortly. I did list Leach's 2012 book. That's the digital chapters that I gave you. Okay. So as you go through those digital chapters, I gave you quite a few that don't. And I said that in a Word document that we really won't cover, but there's some great stuff in there. So please take time to go through those, especially those of us that are fairly new to the computing environment, like searches and stuff in 43. Right? That's real good stuff just to know in the Windows environment. So we've got chapters 44 and 45. That's got the meat of the information we're going to deal with. Right? This has got the PGP, it's got the LIN, the PAT files, all of that. It's also got the CUI file in it. Okay? And those are the ones we're really going to customize. 43, I really doubt I do much with this one. Then we're going to go to your AutoCAD book. That's chapter 25. Okay? That's block attributes. We dealt with blocks back in drafting 132. Attributes is how you assign information to blocks, because we can not only place a block like a door symbol, we can have that symbol record information saying, hey, this is a 6-panel wood door, it costs 125 bucks, you're going to buy it from Home Depot, whatever, and we can have all that digitized so that we push a button and it will all get spit out into a format for us, you know, kind of like a parts list. Pretty common for that type of stuff. I do have some suggested chapters at the bottom. Chapter 47, which is your web one, Express Tools. If you haven't ever messed with your Express Tools ribbon in AutoCAD, that's what that's about. There's some really handy tricks in there. And then, I'm not sure, time permitting, we're going to get into sheet sets, which is back in your AutoCAD book. And this is really how we automate the printing process. Okay. I'm not sure we'll get into that. We may or may not. Any questions so far? Yes, Joe.
Do you remember where we don't have school that Thursday?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
just always seem to.
I hadn't until you mentioned it, but I remembered it on my way in this morning. So we only got 3 days this week. Yeah. So here's what we're going to cover. We already kind of talked about that up above, so I'll just leave the subject matter alone unless anybody's got a question on it.
Pat Files, you first.
Yeah, I wish I was smart enough to have the PAT files named after me, but they're not. That actually is an acronym for pattern. Those are your hatchbacks. Grading policy and instruction method, nothing really has changed, except for one thing. During this section, a lot of times, I'm going to leave, let me state it this way, I'm going to leave a little bit of room for you to look through Express Tools, chapter 43, which we're not really going to cover, but it's got a bunch of Windows stuff. So if you finish and you're fairly computer literate and you say, hey, I'm done for the day, you know, at noon or whatever, then I'm not going to dock you for leaving early during this class. But with that said, you should do your own due diligence. Really, you're talking about your advancement here. Okay? So if you're really kind of uncomfortable on how the computer works or whatever, then I would suggest stick around and go through those. Okay? Now, if not, then you'll probably, we won't fill up your full day, I guess might be a way to do it, say. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. Well, that's the syllabus. That's what we're going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. Why would we customize AutoCAD? That's really kind of the question here. Why would we even have this course? Why do we want to change what they give us when we spend so much money, like $4,500 to get a version of AutoCAD? You said one thing right there, efficiency. Make you more efficient, right? Make you more efficient. What would be the other way? How about, most people worry about, especially when they're first learning AutoCAD, the speed at which they can do a drawing. And many times you probably thought this, that, man, that person can draw so quick. How do they do that? Well, that's what this is all about. I've always said, and I will continue to always say, the first thing you have to be is accurate. We must be accurate, folks. That's always key. But I'll take an accurate drafter over a fast drafter any day of the week. I always will. But the workplace is a greedy environment. They really want two things. They want accurate and fast, right? That's what they want. So we want to get there as much as we can. This is going to be all about making you more efficient, making you faster. If you're not going to do one of those two things, why change it? Because it's not broke, right? The old saying, if not broke, don't fix it. Okay, well, if you're doing it as efficient and fast as you can, don't change it. But if you aren't, then yes, we want to change it. And we're going to make some simple changes even today. And you might think, well, that's not much of a thing. So let's say, extend is EX on the command line. Okay. Or you use your mouse. Is there a way I can get into the extend command quicker? Well, what if I change the command alias to just E? Because EX is kind of hard to hit, right? If you're running a mouse with one button and you're hitting E and X are clear across the keyboard from each other. Well, what if I just hit E, enter? Now, do I save much time with that?
Yeah,
A millisecond, right? Maybe half a second?
but it's a lot.
Well, how many times do you use extend during the day? 1,000? 3,000? You just saved yourself 20 minutes over the course of a day.
So when you do that, I mean, you're assuming that you're always with your setup.
Yep.
So if you go to some other setup, then you have to be more careful.
No, not really, because you can take all this stuff, this customization stuff, we're gonna actually mess with files. And when we take those files, we can copy those to other locations. So you could take, like, let's say your PGP file, which we're gonna deal with today. You can take a copy of that, burn it on your flash, go home, and then just put it in your computer at home, and it's all done. It will operate that way. So the reason we're doing it, make you more efficient, make you faster. If you're not doing one of those two things, why bother? Yes?
Is it any kind of security thing? You don't want people messing with your stuff? I mean.
No, Windows is kind of taking care of that. They switched all this about 10 years ago to account for the fact that multiple people use the same computer, or you might transfer from one computer to another to take care of that. And we're going to address that today also. And you'll see how the file structure is set up such that Cheryl logs in onto this computer, it will work for her. But then Cheryl leaves, and then Lisa comes in and logs in on the same computer, and her customization might be different because we're all different, and it would then switch to her environment. Right? And you might want to think of, and I don't know many drafting shops like this, in fact I know almost none, but let's say we're running a day shift and a swing shift and a night shift, like a lot of places work, then that's really kind of the setup, okay, where we have multiple users on the same device. Alrighty? So, whenever you customize, the very first thing you should do is back stuff up. Because we're going to change how things work. And if you don't like the way it works, you change it and say, oh, this is going to be great. And you run it for a week and think, you know what, it was better the other way. So I'm going to give you a file directory here, and I want you to do your best to kind of memorize this or know it. Because this is where all of your files are stored at. Okay. So, C. Yeah, I'm not done yet.
Are you doing this from memory?
I actually wrote it down this morning because I don't remember all of the names. I don't need it to find it though, because I do have it memorized. Okay, there's a directory where all of your files are stored that AutoCAD uses. Yes?
And by student name, you mean our official csi.edu?
That's correct, your login. Now, a couple things to notice here. It's fairly long, but we do have Autodesk AutoCAD 2020. What you're also going to see when you go into that Autodesk, there's going to be an AutoCAD 2018 in there, or a 2017, any other version that's been loaded on this computer. So you always want to make sure you're dealing with the version you are going to be running with, because we're going to edit these files, and if you edit the ones out of 2018, you're never going to see those changes, because only version 2018 uses those, 2020 is using these. So make sure we're always in the correct version you're running. We're all running 2020 in here now, right? When you guys fire up, you're using 2020? Okay. Second thing, when you come to here, so we do a user, and then you come into your login name, there will be this identical file structure for every person that logs in this machine. So this is how they control the different operating environments for different people. And that's what I meant, like Cheryl and Lisa both log in the same machine. Right here, it's making that distinction, okay, on which things have been changed. Yes?
So am I logging in capital L Mary, or am I doing my?
The CSI student login. Same way you log in every day,
Okay.
okay? But what it will do, it's going to take these support files. There's a whole bunch of files in this directory right here. They're copied for every single user that comes here. And then you get to change the ones that are pertinent. All right, let's open up Windows and let's go to this directory. I'm going to switch over to the computer. And if you would open the Windows Explorer, not Internet Explorer, Windows Explorer. It's that little manila folder at the bottom. Then go to your C drive, users, however you logged in, app data, roaming, Autodesk 2020, and support. Okay, is everybody there? Raise your hand if you need help.
It's in the Autodesk.
Yep, just follow this directory right here. So you want to see users, which is going to be right there. Double click that. Yep. We're going to be in this directory a lot, folks. You're going to want to know this. Let me know when you're there, one. Okay? Now, if you'll notice in the support directory, it's got a few folders here, but then we start with files that run down through here. Okay. Now, these files are all some of the files, not all of them, but it's some of the files that AutoCAD runs when it starts up. And when we talk about how a file structure works, the first thing you got to know when you're dealing with files is that every single program has one file that's common. And when by the way, when I use this asterisk, what do I mean with that?
Other stuff in front of that.
Yeah, it's a wild card, right? It can be anything. So it can have any name. So this might be Word.exe, or it might be Excel.exe, or AutoCAD.exe, whatever. This is what we call the executive file of a program. Think of it like the foreman on a job site. All its job is to do is to go ahead and tell all these other files how to work. So when you double click that AutoCAD icon, what you're really doing is you're starting AutoCAD.exe. And when that starts, it says load AutoCAD.pdp, load AutoCAD.lin, load all these other files up so that you can use it. That's what it does. Okay? Now, as you come down through here, there's a whole bunch of them down here. None of them have an exe because the exe is stored in a different place to protect it. These are just the ones to edit. Now, what I want you to find here there's 4 files we're gonna grab. We're gonna grab acad.pgp, acad.lin, acad.cui, and acad.pat. We're gonna edit all 4 of these over the course of this week. Now, does anybody remember how to select here? What we're gonna do here, by the way, we're backing stuff up. So if we screw it up, we can then copy things back in and get it all fixed. How do I select a file for copying?
Don't you hold control so that you can pick that file, or you hold shift to select a number, like a lot of files?
Yes. Okay, thanks, Sean. Yeah, there's 2 ways to select in AutoCAD. Okay. Number 1, or actually in Windows, I should say that. It's a Windows deal, it's not an AutoCAD thing. Is if you left click on any file, it's going to turn blue. It's now ready to have some action on it. You can open it by double clicking. You can hit Control C for copy, Control V for paste, whatever. Now, like Sean said, if I want to do more than one, if I make one blue and then I hold the Shift key down and I come in and click down below it, notice it's selected everything in between. So if you hold the Shift key, you get everything in between 2 clicks. If you want to select individual multiple files, hold the Control key down. Let me just show you. If I wanted this whole directory, I would just click on the top one, go to the bottom, hold the Shift key down and click, and notice it selected everything. If I wanted to select several, but not the whole thing, I would click on one that I want, and then I would hold the Control key down, and notice now it doesn't deselect the first one, but it's allowing me to add to my selection set. Okay, so I'm holding the Control key down. So what I'd like you to do is come into here and find these 4 files. Like here's the acad.lin. And CUI, I forgot to put an X, it's CUIX. Now, so find these 4 files, hold the Control key down and select it. So find the PGP, LIN, CUIX, and PAT.
So in my mind, I always have that there's 3 ways to select, and the other one is just Control A.
That selects everything though. Has everybody got those? Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we want to copy these to another location, because right now these files are straight out of the box, right? We just downloaded them off the internet, they haven't been changed. So if we screw these up and they quit working, we can always copy them back in here and start over. Okay, that's in essence what we're doing. We call that backing up our files. Okay. So, how do we copy? Yep, you can right click and drag, but you got to have your other one to see over here, so there's a better way to do it.
Control C.
Okay. You can do 2 ways. Control C, this is what most people like to use, and that's copy. So if you just hit Control C. Okay, so now that is now in the Windows clipboard. So it's got those file names stored, and as soon as we go somewhere and paste it, it's going to copy them. There is another way to do it. If you hold your cursor right on the blue areas, if you like using the mice better, and right click, there is a copy. Okay? But you got to make sure you're in the blue of one of them to get that. They both do the same thing. Okay? So we've got those copied. All right, now we need to store these somewhere where we can keep them. So I'm going to go back to the C drive. So go back to your C drive. Choose your directory where you're storing your drive. See, we all put one on our C drive with our name on it, right? I'm going to double click that directory to go into it. So I'm in my C Pat. You should be in C Missy, C Juan, C Sean, whatever. Okay, everybody there? Okay. Go ahead in the white area over here, just right click. You get some options, and we're going to make a new folder. So go to new, and it should say folder. And if you would, call this backup AutoCAD 2020. If you fall behind, stop me and let me catch you up. Okay, is everybody there? All right, let's double click into that file folder that we just made. You should have nothing but white area now because there's nothing in that folder. So I double clicked into it. Now, how do we paste? Control V. Hit Control V, you should see those 4 files appear. You can also just right click in the white space and say paste if you wish. First step of customization. Always protect yourself. Back those files up, because if we screw it up, we want to be able to reinstall them. Now, if we come in, let's say we're going to mess with the PGP today, this one. Now, if we go through the process at the end of today, and AutoCAD starts giving you an error message when you open it up saying, bad error, line 189 in the PGP file, and you can't find that mistake, what do? You come here, you grab the PGP, you copy it back into this long directory right where it was, overwrite the one you've done, and you're right back to the way it came out of the box. Okay, everything's fixed. Now, with that said, you probably got to go through it again and try to get it customized. Okay. Any questions or comments on that?
So you could always, if you have it working pretty well and then you decide to make a